then spoil it. I don't want to do that. I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible. Now, Harry's now hit back at the speech of the Invictus Games, seeming to reference Trump.
At this moment, when there is no shortage of crises, no absence of uncertainty, no lack of weak moral character in the
Weak moral.
As Prince Harry stepped onto the stage for his latest speech, there was no mistaking the sense of purpose in his stride. He had something to say, something that demanded attention. Though he never mentioned Donald Trump by name, the underlying message was crystal clear. Since moving to the United States with Meghan Markle, Harry has been a frequent target of criticism, often painted as being under his wife's influence. But this time, he wasn't staying silent. Seizing the moment, he addressed the relentless scrutiny head-on, delivering a response that felt both deliberate and defiant. The most pointed of these attacks had come from Trump himself, who publicly mocked Harry as being whipped by Meghan. Without resorting to direct confrontation, Harry's words carried a sharp edge, a quiet but powerful rebuttal that challenged the narrative imposed on him. His tone was steady, his confidence unwavering. In that moment, he wasn't just defending himself, he was reclaiming his own story, standing firm in his choices and making it clear that no amount of outside noise would shake his resolve.
Do you know the expression
I'm
whipped?
familiar with the phrase.
I won't use the full expression. But Harry is whipped like no person I think I've ever seen. I'm not a fan of Meghan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. And I wasn't right from the beginning. I
Said
think
to
poor
you.
Harry is being led around by his nose, okay?
You think it's going to end?
I do. I've been a very good predictor, as you know. I predicted almost everything. It'll end and
In his address, Prince Harry did not hesitate to defend his choices, speaking with conviction about the significance of personal freedom, especially in relationships. For him, being with Meghan is not just about love. It's about loyalty, about standing by his family, and making decisions that shield them from the relentless public scrutiny they have endured. He made it clear that his choices were not about rebellion but about self-preservation, about breaking free from a cycle of toxic criticism that has followed them since their departure from royal life. With unwavering resolve, Harry also pushed back against the outdated norms that have long dictated how the royal family should behave. He challenged the notion that duty must come at the expense of happiness and rejected the idea that tradition should outweigh personal well-being. His words weren't just a defense. They were a declaration, a refusal to be bound by expectations that no longer serve him or his family.
But again, this was a necessary comment from Trump, but he's who he is. He's giving us entertainment, even if it's not necessarily very highbrow. And unfortunately, Harry has no comebacks. This is a couple that said that they wanted their privacy and then did everything in their power to not get their privacy. I can't imagine anything that shatters their privacy more than the leader of the United States calling your wife terrible, which is like, it's just...
Harry's response didn't just resonate with those who already stand by him. It struck a chord with anyone exhausted by the media's relentless intrusion into personal lives. He made it clear that his priorities are unwavering, protecting mental health, safeguarding his family, and rejecting the public vilification that has too often dominated their narrative. In a world fixated on tearing people down, his message felt like a breath of fresh air, a call for something different. It was a plea for freedom, for respect, and for a much-needed shift toward empathy in an era where judgment often overshadows humanity.
then bad. And I wonder if Harry's going to go back on his hands and knees and say, please, I think Harry has been led down a path.
If you were the Queen, is it at the stage now, would you remove their royal title?
I would. The only thing I disagree with the Queen on, probably one of the only things ever, is that I think she should have said, if that's your choice, fine. But you no longer have titles, you no longer... And frankly, don't come around. He has been so disrespectful to the country, and I think he's...
Donald Trump has never been one to hold back his opinions, especially when it comes to Meghan Markle. Over the years, he has repeatedly criticized her, often portraying her as disrespectful to the royal family. One of his most pointed attacks came in the wake of Meghan's explosive Oprah interview, where she openly discussed the struggles she faced within the monarchy. Trump didn't mince words, condemning her for what he saw as a blatant disregard for the Queen and questioning her motives for speaking out so publicly. To him, Meghan's decision to air grievances on such a global stage was not just controversial, it was unacceptable.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I can tell you who was laughing, the Prince and Princess of Wales. I can absolutely guarantee that the entire royal court were having the time of their lives laughing at this, because you have to remember that President Trump still holds the royal family in some regard, which is Keir Starmer's saving grace. And I'm pretty sure they've done a lot of heavy lifting in terms of smoothing over the relationship between the US and the UK. So for them to see sort of their prodigal son being trashed in this way by the American president certainly feels satisfying, and in many ways.
But it's not just Meghan who has faced Trump's criticism. Prince Harry has also been a frequent target. Time and again, Trump has mocked him, often branding him as whipped for following his wife's lead. This recurring theme in Trump's rhetoric seems designed to undermine Harry's independence and masculinity in the eyes of the public. The underlying suggestion is clear, that Harry isn't making his own choices, but instead, simply obeying Meghan's every command. It's a narrative meant to diminish his agency, casting him as a man who has surrendered control rather than one who has consciously chosen his path.
Chimed in on the U.S. election and essentially encouraged people to vote for Joe Biden. I want to get your reaction to that.
I'm not a fan of hers. And I would say this, and she probably has heard that, but I wish a lot of luck to Harry. She's going to need it.
The public response to Trump's remarks has been a mix of ridicule and support, reflecting the deep divide in opinions about Harry and Meghan. Some see Trump's criticisms as outdated and unnecessarily harsh, a reflection of his traditionalist views that clash with the Sussexes' more progressive stance. Others, however, side with Trump, believing Meghan's actions have disrespected the royal family and its legacy. Regardless of where people stand, one thing remains certain: Trump's comments continue to stoke a divisive narrative surrounding Harry and Meghan. The idea of Prince Harry being deported from the United States gained traction after Trump hinted that his past drug use could be grounds for removal. Harry himself had openly admitted to experimenting with substances like cocaine, marijuana, and mushrooms in his younger years, revelations that had already made headlines. But just as the discussion gained momentum, Trump abruptly shifted gears. In a tweet that caught many by surprise, he backtracked on the deportation talk, dismissing it as a waste of time. Ever the master of media spectacle, Trump couldn't resist adding a final jab, remarking that Harry had enough problems dealing with Meghan and didn't need any more. It was classic Trump, part insult, part playful dismissal, keeping the controversy alive in the media without making any serious legal threats.
Should she go into American politics?
I'm not a fan of hers. I wasn't from day one. I think Harry has been used horribly. I think someday he will regret it. He probably does already. But I'm not a fan of hers at all. And I think she's very disrespectful to the Queen that we just spoke about, who's such a great woman, who's such a great person, historic person. I think she's very disrespectful to the royal family, but maybe most importantly to the Queen. And I just, from day one, I never got it. I never got it. I see her, I listen to her. She's trying to do things that I think are inappropriate, very inappropriate. But I think Harry's been used and been used terribly. It's ruined his relationship with his family.
Yeah, and you can't use a royal title and get involved
Well,
in
I didn't know
American
she was
affairs.
doing that, but
well, I
certainly
know she has been doing it.
It's not appropriate.
While Trump's suggestion of deportation may have been more rhetorical than a real threat, it still sparked a heated debate. One thing has always been clear: Donald Trump holds Queen Elizabeth II in the highest regard, often praising her as one of the greatest leaders of modern times. Following her passing, his admiration only grew, with him stating that the world would likely never see another monarch like her. To Trump, the Queen embodied dignity, tradition, and unwavering leadership, qualities he sees as fading in the wake of the royal family's modern evolution. For him, she wasn't just a ruler. She was a symbol of stability in a changing world, a stark contrast to the controversies and disruptions that have since dominated royal headlines.
All of Britain was laughing. It was probably the funniest thing I've ever... on social media and in mainstream media as well, which laps it up. Unfortunately, many people didn't seem to disagree. I mean, I don't know if you saw Meghan's impromptu speech at the Invictus Games, where she wasn't planning on speaking, but somehow managed to talk people's ears off. But, you know, many people in this country just have the sense that, like, Harry is not very intelligent and he's being led like a dog wagging its tail by his very American, very headstrong wife.
However, Trump's deep admiration for Queen Elizabeth II stands in stark contrast to his stance on Meghan Markle. The former president has been one of Meghan's most vocal critics, repeatedly condemning what he sees as her disrespectful behavior toward the royal family. His disapproval isn't just about her decision to step away from royal duties alongside Prince Harry. It's the high-profile interviews, the public airing of grievances, and the candid criticism of the monarchy that have truly drawn his ire. For Trump, Meghan's actions don't just signal independence. They represent a direct challenge to the institution of the monarchy, particularly during moments of national significance, such as the Queen's Jubilee or the mourning of Prince Philip. And he's not alone in this belief. In the UK, many echo his sentiments, seeing Meghan's outspoken nature as a betrayal of royal traditions and a dismissal of the monarchy's legacy. To her critics, her words and actions have only widened the divide between public opinion and the choices made by the Sussexes, fueling an already polarizing debate about the future of the royal family.
It happened a few weeks ago, earlier this month, here at our cottage. Just a standard, typical night for us.
It's a cozy night. It was what we're doing, just roasting chicken and
Roasting
having
a chicken, trying to roast a chicken.
Trying to roast a chicken, and it was just an amazing surprise. It was so sweet and natural and very romantic.
In the UK, the perception of Meghan's influence over Prince Harry has been a topic of intense debate. Many believe that Meghan holds the dominant role in their relationship, with Harry often portrayed as more of a follower than an equal partner. This dynamic has been widely dissected in the media, where Harry is sometimes depicted as a mere puppet, someone who simply follows Meghan's lead rather than making his own decisions. The tabloids have had a field day with this narrative, painting Harry as a man who has abandoned his royal duties and turned his back on centuries-old traditions. To his critics, his departure from the monarchy represents more than just personal choice. It symbolizes a dramatic break from the values that have long defined the royal family. In their eyes, Harry's shift away from royal expectations marks a stark contrast to the traditional role of a prince, where duty, loyalty, and independence were once considered paramount.
I tell the story that I said, "Who was your favorite president?" "Oh, they were all great. They were all great." I said, but did you like Ronald Reagan the best?" "Oh, I liked them all very much." "What about Richard Nixon?" "Oh, I thought he was wonderful." Then I said, "Who was your favorite prime minister?" And she said, just...
The media's portrayal of Prince Harry and Meghan's relationship has only added fuel to the ongoing debate. Some argue that Harry's unwavering support for Meghan isn't just about love. It's a deliberate break from the rigid royal expectations that have shaped his life. This raises a compelling question. Is Harry truly making these choices of his own accord, or is he simply following Meghan's lead? Public opinion remains sharply divided. While many admire his dedication to his wife, others feel he's drifting further from his royal roots, distancing himself from the traditions that once defined him. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's influence in U.S. politics is undeniable, and when it comes to high-profile figures like Prince Harry, his words carry significant weight. His recent suggestion of deporting Harry, while unlikely to hold any legal merit, could still serve as a form of political pressure. What's clear is that the Trump-Sussex feud is far from over, and Harry, caught in the middle, may find himself entangled in an increasingly uncomfortable political battle. Given Trump's combative style and his ability to stir public drama, this isn't just an empty threat. It's another chapter in a larger, ongoing saga that shows no signs of cooling down.
Trump is divisive. Think about just female voters alone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think it was in 2012, like, the Republican Party lost the female vote by 12 points. That's a huge number. And with as misogynistic as Trump is and so vocal about it, that's a huge chunk of it. You're not just voting for a woman if it's Hillary just because she's a woman, but certainly because Trump has made it easy.
Prince Harry's position as a royal who stepped away from his duties, while residing in the United States, places him in a uniquely precarious situation. If Trump continues to apply pressure, Harry could find himself facing a legal battle that directly contradicts his desire for privacy and a peaceful family life. The mere prospect of having to defend his right to remain in the U.S. could pull him even deeper into the public eye, forcing him into a tangled web of legal and media disputes that he has long sought to escape. Meghan Markle's exit from royal life wasn't just a departure from her duties. It marked the beginning of a very public and outspoken critique of the monarchy. From her explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey to other public statements, Meghan has made it clear that her time within the royal family was far from ideal. She has spoken openly about her struggles with mental health, the racial challenges she faced, and the treatment she received from certain family members. These revelations ignited a firestorm, drawing both fierce criticism and unwavering support. To some, Meghan's willingness to speak out is seen as an act of courage, challenging an outdated institution and shedding light on its flaws. To others, her actions are nothing short of an attack on the monarchy itself. Donald Trump, however, has never been among her supporters. He has been particularly critical of Meghan, viewing her openness as a direct challenge to the traditions of the royal family. To Trump, Meghan's outspoken nature is not an act of bravery but a disgrace, one that tarnishes the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II. His criticism of her goes beyond personal dislike. It's rooted in his belief that her actions have damaged the image of the monarchy, an institution he holds in the highest regard.
To president again in the USA. Probably not top of his agenda right now, but do you think that this could mean something for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? I mean, will it implicate them in whether they stay in America?
It is a real problem, yes, because suddenly America's become a much more hostile environment for Harry and Meghan now. Meghan is on record. She's criticised, she's said very unpleasant things about Donald Trump before she married Prince Harry, and there have been several statements from Mr. Trump and from members of his family that they're not big fans of Harry and Meghan either. So there's lots of questions, and I think it's a worrying time for Harry and Meghan.
And Charlotte, do you think he'll be keeping his head down a little bit as a result of the election?
He'll be definitely keeping his head down and burying it in the sand, and possibly even running away to Portugal, where he's got a new house, as he revealed. Because I just think that house in Portugal's...
In the UK, public opinion on Meghan Markle remains deeply divided. To some, she is a modern-day rebel, unafraid to speak truth to power and challenge long-standing traditions in the name of progress. They see her as a woman who refused to conform, using her platform to highlight issues that have long been swept under the rug. But for just as many, if not more, Meghan's actions are seen as disrespectful and ungrateful, particularly toward the royal institution that welcomed her. To them, her public critiques are not a call for change, but a betrayal of everything the monarchy represents. Rather than modernizing the royal family, they believe she has undermined its legacy, fueling controversy instead of fostering unity. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe for more interesting video.